7 forbidden secrets of dark reality only 1% of dark chosen ones know. There's a reason only 1% ever find these secrets. And there's a reason even fewer survive knowing them. This isn't a story wrapped in incense and soft music. This is a descent, a dive into the forbidden layers of reality that most spiritual systems tiptoe around or sanitize. I'm here to give it to you raw, because if you're watching this, part of you is ready. Part of you has always known that beneath the polished surface of law of attraction teachings, behind the smiling masks of spiritual gurus, there is something darker, deeper, and far more powerful. And you've felt it. In your dreams, in your breakdowns, in your isolation. That whisper that says you are not like them. That feeling that your pain wasn't random, it was ritual. It was design. That's because you're one of the few. Not better, just wired differently. You were never meant to be saved. You were meant to remember. And we're going to remember together. Let me take you back to the first time I heard the hymn. I was fasting in a temple that hadn't been touched by tourists in over 300 years. The locals wouldn't talk about it. The monks had blocked off the entrance with iron chains, but I found the key. I stayed in the dark for 3 days. No sound, no light, just the thick silence of presence. But on the third night, I felt something move not around me but in me, a vibration, like the walls of my body weren't walls anymore. And I knew something, not with logic, not with language. I just knew the veil had thinned. I was hearing the first of the 7 forbidden secrets. It didn't come as a voice. It came as a knowing. And I'll tell you what it was.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Secret 1. Reality is not made of matter. It's made of agreement. Let that sink in. What you call real is just a structure of layered agreements between minds, timelines, frequencies. Your body, your thoughts, your history, they're all part of a collective agreement field. The moment you stop agreeing with the rules start bending. This is why chosen ones often go through long periods of isolation, because you're being pulled out of the collective agreement field, so you can remember how to rewrite it. But here's the thing, the moment you break that first agreement, reality starts pushing back. That's when the shadows come, not demons in the cartoon sense, but energetic gatekeepers. Sentient frequencies that test whether you're ready to unagree with the dream. They show up as fear, as doubt, as betrayal. These aren't punishments, they're protocol. If you want to command reality, you have to stop being seduced by it. You have to stop mistaking the illusion for truth. Secret 2. Your pain is a password. Every trauma you've lived through wasn't just suffering, it was data, encoded memory. Each wound holds a key frequency, and when you stop trying to heal your pain and start listening to it, it starts to unlock gates. Most people never do this. They try to escape pain, medicate it, numb it. But the chosen ones, we go deeper. We enter the wound. We breathe into it. We stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this trying to activate in me? That shift alone can change the course of your life. Because your pain doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to reveal you. Secret 3. Time is a decoy. You've been taught that time moves in a straight line, that the past is behind you and the future is ahead. That's a lie. That's an overlay, a program. Time is not linear. It's spherical, layered. The past is not gone. It's accessible. The future is not here. It's already vibrating. When you begin to access forbidden awareness, you'll start to feel moments folding into each other. You'll remember things you never lived. You'll dream things before they happen. You'll meet people and feel like you've known them for lifetimes. That's not magic. That's mastery. And it's only possible when you stop measuring your life by clocks and start measuring it by energy. Let me ask you this. What would your reality look like if you no longer obeyed time as your master? If you truly believed that you could collapse a decade of healing into a moment of clarity? That's not theory. That's the tech the ancient dark mystics knew. Time is not fixed. It's fluid. And pain is the paddle. Secret 4. Emotions are not reactions, they're instructions. You've been conditioned to manage your emotions, to control them, to label them as good or bad. But what if I told you every emotion is a divine instruction? That rage is not just anger, it's a signal to break a boundary. That grief is not just sadness, it's the soul's proof that something sacred has been lost. That anxiety is not weakness, it's a spiritual GPS glitching, because your current reality doesn't match your soul's frequency. When you stop managing emotions and start decoding them, your emotions become your guides, your sacred messengers. You don't need to suppress what you feel, you need to translate it, because the soul doesn't speak in words, it speaks in emotion. And most people ignore the language of their own soul every single day. That's why they feel lost. That's why they burn out. That's why they chase spiritual highs but never feel whole. But not you. You're not here to escape your emotions. You're here to partner with them. Let me ask you now, which emotion do you keep silencing, and what might it be trying to teach you if you finally listened? That one question might be the beginning of your entire rebirth. We've only touched 4 of the 7 secrets, and already you're probably feeling it. The pull, the resonance, that sense that something ancient in you is finally being spoken to. That's not coincidence. That's activation. These secrets aren't new. They're old. Older than language. Older than memory. They're buried in your DNA, waiting for a moment like this to wake up. And you're not watching this by accident. Part of you knows that. But I'll say this with all clarity, these first 4 secrets are the easy part. What comes next, most don't survive. Because the next 3 secrets require you to dissolve everything you believe about who you are, why you're here, and what power actually is. If you're ready for that, then what happens next will not just change your life, it will end it. The you who started watching won't make it to the end. But something else will. Something real. Something sovereign. Something divine. So now the question is, do you want to keep watching from the edge? Or are you ready to step in? The hidden chamber, why most never survive the second gate of awakening. Let's go deeper now, because this is where it gets dangerous. The first 4 forbidden secrets woke something in you, but the next 3 aren't just information, they're initiation. They're the actual gates, the ones that don't open until you're ready to die into yourself. And I don't mean physical death, I mean a deeper death. The kind that strips everything you've built, your beliefs, your identity, your reasons, your self-image. Because to walk through the second gate of awakening, you must lose the you that needed answers in the first place. This is where most turn back. They've tasted the edges of power. They felt the hum of the forbidden frequency. But when the mirror cracks and their true reflection comes through unfiltered, raw, not the one from their spiritual Instagram, they panic. Because the second gate doesn't show you light. It shows you the exact thing you've spent your entire life avoiding, your true nature. And let me tell you, your true nature is not a perfect being of light. Your true nature is infinite polarity, fire and stillness, creation and destruction, God and shadow. And the second gate will show you both in full. Here lies forbidden secret 5. The self you think you are is the cage keeping you from who you really are. Let that sink in. Everything you've built around your identity, your story, Your wounds, your healing, your pride, your pain, all of that was necessary scaffolding. But it was never you. It was a mask built to survive the matrix of control. And now that you're standing at the edge of truth, that mask has to fall. Here's how it happens as you begin to unlock deeper frequencies, especially through solitude, ritual and shadow work. You'll start to notice that your sense of self becomes unstable. Some days you'll feel massive, expansive, untouchable. Other days you'll feel like you're dissolving, floating in nothing. You'll look in the mirror and not recognize your own eyes. That's not psychosis. That's awakening. Your ego thinks it's dying, but your soul is just taking over the controls. And the ego will fight it. It will scream. It will try to rebuild the cage. It will tell you that you're losing yourself, when in truth, you're becoming yourself. Most people can't hold that. They run back to the familiar, to their trauma identity, to their roles, to their curated self. But the chosen ones we walk through, we let the mask disintegrate, even when it burns, even when it breaks everything we thought we were. Because we know what comes after that destruction is not a new identity, it's freedom from identity. Let me ask you something that might shake you. If you had no name, no past, no trauma, no titles, who would you be? Sit with that. Because Secret 5 doesn't give you something new, it takes everything away. It rewrites the entire game. You stop playing the role of healer, seeker, warrior, or victim, and you start operating from the field beyond identity. That's where real power lives, in the formless, the nameless, the undivided. But here's the twist. Once you dissolve, once you pass through that ego death, something wild happens. You don't disappear. You expand. You start accessing abilities that were blocked by your sense of self. You become a conduit, a walking portal. You speak not from thought, but from source. You see through timelines. You feel other people's illusions like static. You attract, repel, command, and collapse realities not because you try, but because you simply are. This is why the second gate is feared. This is why it guards the fifth secret. Because it doesn't just upgrade you, it erases everything that can't come with you into the next dimension of power. Some call it ego death. Others call it soul integration. I call it the soul split. Because in that moment you split from the simulation of who you thought you were and return to the source within that never forgot. But don't get it twisted. This isn't an onenite transformation. It's a devouring, a ritual. That's why ancient initiates were buried alive, left in caves or cast into silence for months. Because they understood the personality must break for the soul to emerge. And in today's world, we don't face that same ritual externally. We face it internally. Through isolation, through breakdowns, through losing everything we thought made us us. That's the modern version of the ancient rite. You lose your identity in the fire of awakening. And if you're brave enough to let it all burn, you emerge not as a better version of yourself, but as a formless, sovereign force tuned to the actual code of reality. That's what the 1% of dark chosen ones know, not because they read it, because they survived it. They let go of the rope. They stopped trying to fix themselves. They stopped asking, "Who am I?" and started becoming the answer. So tell me now, are you willing to be nothing in order to become everything? Because that's where we go next. The soul split. Why the fifth secret destroys your identity before it sets you free. If you've made it this far, there's no going back. You've already been marked by the truth. Not the kind you read in books or hear in lectures, but the truth that shatters the architecture of who you thought you were. The fifth secret didn't just ask you to change, it asked you to dissolve. It asked you to release the very you who began this journey. That's the soul split. the death of identity, the rebirth of essence. And now, with the fragments of your former self scattered like ash, you're standing at the edge of something even more rare. Forbidden Secret 6. This is the moment where most seekers become lost, because after the ego dies, there's a silence, a vastness, and it can feel like nothingness. But that's the illusion. It's not nothing, it's everything before it becomes something. It's the womb of creation, the 0 point, the void. And what I'm about to tell you is the most dangerous secret of all, not because it's harmful, but because it leaves you with nothing to cling to. No rules, no system, no savior, just pure, raw, unfiltered authority, yours. Secret 6. The void is not the end. It is the throne. And if you can sit in it without reaching for anything, you become the architect of reality. Let me explain. The void is the space you reach when everything external has lost its power, when no affirmation, no teacher, no ritual can help you anymore. It's the space where silence becomes so loud, it speaks, where stillness becomes so full, it creates. But most people can't handle that level of sovereignty. They panic. They run back to structure. They seek validation. But if you can truly sit in that space and not flinch, you become the throne itself. You become a builder of worlds. This is where the dark chosen ones separate from the rest, because we don't collapse in the void, we command from it. We don't fear the nothingness, we build with it. We don't wait for signs, we generate them, because we've decoded the truth that the formless is not absence, it is pure potential. So how do you access this throne? You stop performing. You stop trying to be spiritual. You stop trying to control anything. You become still, empty, present. You start creating from frequency, not force. You stop manifesting from desire and start manifesting from alignment. And alignment doesn't come from thinking, it comes from resonance. You feel the truth in your bones before it ever makes sense in your head. Let me ask you, what if the power you've been chasing isn't something to find, but something to remember in silence? Because that's what the void reveals. That you were the source the whole time. That the cathedral you were praying in was your skull. That the God you were seeking was your own voice before it was conditioned into silence. I spent years chasing teachers, temples, techniques, until one day, deep in the jungle, I stopped. I sat. I let the void swallow everything. My beliefs, my ambition, my identity. And in that stillness, I didn't find enlightenment. I found authority. Not over others, over reality itself. I realized I didn't need permission to create. I only needed permission to be. That's the 6th secret. That the moment you stop needing reality to validate you, it starts bending around you. Not because you're special, but because you've exited the simulation. You're no longer reacting, you're scripting. And the universe? It's not separate from you. It's your echo, your canvas, your mirror. So ask yourself this: if you are the architect, what will you build next? Because the final secret is not a teaching, it is a task, a responsibility, a crown. And it requires everything you've shed to now become fuel for what you will create. The throne of the void, why the final secret awakens the architect within. So here we are at the edge of the final secret. You've shed your identity, stepped into the void, and felt the throne beneath your feet. What's left now isn't a lesson, it's a choice. Because Forbidden Secret 7 doesn't just tell you who you are. It asks, what will you now do with the truth? This last secret is the one almost no one talks about, not because it's hidden, but because it's too heavy for most to carry. Because once you know it, there's no more pretending, no more waiting, no more asking for signs. It strips away the final illusion that you are still becoming. It reveals, finally, that you already are. Secret 7, you are not a character in the simulation. You are the code itself. and you've been dreaming yourself from the other side of the veil the entire time. Let that sink into your bones. You're not separate from the matrix. You're not inside it. You wrote it. You're not a mistake in the system, you are the system. Every fear, every synchronicity, every breakdown, every moment of silence, every person who hurt you, guided you, loved you, left you, you scripted all of it to remember the only truth that matters, that you are not a seeker of reality. You are the source of it. But here's the catch, knowing this changes everything. Because once you know you're the code, you can no longer play the victim. You can no longer outsource your power. You can't blame the world, the stars, or even karma, because they're all just you in disguise. Every single thing you've experienced was created by you, not the ego self, but the architect self, the deep, hidden, eternal self that exists outside of time, outside of form, outside of limitation. This is the ultimate responsibility, because now you must choose. Will you keep pretending you're not ready? Will you keep hiding behind healing? Will you keep asking for permission to rise? Or will you finally own what you've always known deep down? That you were never here to be saved. You were here to awaken, to build, to command. The final secret doesn't give you more knowledge. It gives you a mirror. And in that mirror, you see the architect looking back, not as some future version of you, not as some divine being you're trying to become, but as you, here, now bare, powerful sovereign. And here's the most dangerous truth. Once you see yourself as the architect, reality begins to obey. You'll speak and things will move. You'll feel it before it happens. You'll collapse timelines with presence. You'll create without effort. You'll destroy without guilt. You'll walk through rooms and shift the frequency just by being. This is not fantasy. This is the inheritance of the 1% of dark chosen ones who go all the way. The ones who stop following rules and start writing them. The ones who don't manifest with vision boards, they manifest with vibration. The ones who don't pray, they listen. The ones who don't ask for answers, they become the question itself. So let me ask you one final time, what are you waiting for? Not a sign, not a savior, not a perfect version of yourself, just this moment, right here, right now. This is the gate. This is the throne. This is the void. This is the power you've been pretending you don't have. And now that you know, what will you do? Because the secrets are no longer secrets. The doors are open. The mirror is clear. And the architect you is awake. Welcome home.